Good day, everyone. Coming to you live from the Granville Guitars World Headquarters today. It's your old pal Scooter. And our guest Mateo's hanging out with us as well. So if you hear somebody giggling in the background, that's what's going on there. Well, you've asked for it, so here it is. This is the play demo of the Granville Super Chief amplifier. We've been having fun with it this morning and laughing out loud a number of times. Bring in close here on the front panel so you can see what's going on here. If you haven't watched the previous 3 chapters in this Odyssey, those chapters pretty much cover everything about the construction of the amplifier. I won't go over that here. I won't bore you with that here. I'm not going to talk that long. I'm just going to play mostly in this clip. It's a Marshall style high B plus 2203 100-watt circuit. I do a few things differently from Marshall, a few little things that I like to do that I did not share in the video that are kind of my little ways of doing things. So those are not included here, but I got to have some secrets, you know. We got it plugged in today to my trusty Marshall 1960 Classic 412 and mic'd up with a Shure SM57 set midway between the dust cap and the edge of that speaker. That's my favorite of the 4. The speakers are British-made Celestion G12T75s. Those are my preferred Celestion in a Marshall amp. All of my 412 cabinets have those in them. We're also having some pedal fun here. We've got a Granville copper drive pedal. Let me get up here where you can see it a little better. For a little extra added dirt fun at the front end of the amp. That's my long-suffering serial number 85 that I've had forever, and it's kind of been my my go-to copper drive for a while now. Then we've also got a Boss RV3 reverb and delay, which is running into the Metropolis Zero Loss effects loop that's installed in this amp. So we're going to have a bunch of fun with that stuff. That's pretty much all for the configuration. I'm going to be using several guitars here. The first one up is going to be my gold top Everett, which is I think it's 2013 LPJ gold top. It's got Duncan pickups in it, distortion in the bridge, 59 in the neck, Grover tuners, you know, just a good Les Paul. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just a great guitar. So that's the guitar I'm going to start with. I'm probably going to grab Lucy here in a minute because I want to play the Lucy guitar through the Chief amplifier. The Lucy guitar is the guitar that's finished very similarly to this amplifier with that dark stained leathery look to it. So yeah, that's all the background story here. So like I said, I'm going to do minimal talking and just run through what the amp will do. A lot of folks out there think that Marshalls are a certain thing, and they're not. Marshalls can do a lot of things very well. They can do wonderful, sparkling rhythm sounds and clean things, and also searing lead stuff. And if you whack the front end with an extra overdrive, you know, you'll get real crazy in a hurry. Also, a lot of folks are under the impression that a JCM 800 won't do the more vintagey, fatter Marshall style things that the JTM and the JMP will do, and that's simply not true. If you set it properly, it will do all of those sounds and more. It's very similar in circuit topography to those designs. Somewhat higher voltages, which contribute somewhat to its stiffer feel. However, you know, it'll give you a lot of great tone in a little package. So, all right, we're going to hear it now, so stand by. All right, here we are. Our good friend, the Granville Super Chief, and Les Paul for your dancing and dining pleasure. guitar with both volumes up, both tones all the way up. The controls are set. Let's see. Presence is on about 2. Bass is on about 2. Middle is, what is that, 6. Treble, again, about 2. Master and preamp right now are both at 12 o'clock. I like to voice the controls in such a way that they suit a 412 cabinet. So let's hear what each one of those does. First, we're going to hear the presence control. I figure let the bass player have his fun. I'm not going to win that fight anyway, so yeah, that's I just enough bass, just enough low end to have some fun. A sealed back 412 is going to have a lot of low end naturally, so yeah, it ends up being de-emphasized slightly. Mid range. The way I have the mid-range control voiced, it's centered a bit higher than normal, and it's also less of a push to the output. On a lot of older Marshalls, upper settings of the mid-range control, the middle control, will actually push the input a little more and actually give you a little more gain. This is not set up that way because I like to use, if I need more gain, I like to use pedals. I don't want the tone stack to be meddling with the gain structure. So that's one of the things I do differently. And then finally, treble. You'll notice the treble control is kind of subtle. It's really there for taming high end more than emphasizing it. And if I do a clip, and I will do a clip here in a little while with the Lucy guitar, which is a Telecaster, it's a very bright guitar. We're going to need to use some judicious taming of treble on that thing. So, nice, clean, beautiful tone. I've got the master and the pre both at noon, so there's not a lot of grit happening right off the amp. That's a fairly clean sound with the volume controls all the way up. Where the fun starts with these amps, in my opinion, is when you bring the gain up about 25% and start playing with the volume controls off your guitar. Backed off the volume control about half on of that clean. Similar with the bridge pickup. Let's get rid of the reverb. All I did there was turn the volume control all the way up. Once again, right there, if you're a player who doesn't really manipulate your volume controls when you're playing, you're kind of cheating yourself a little bit. Learn to mess with those some. Don't always rely on adding more, hitting a foot pedal and adding more and more and more. You know, see what happens when you turn the amp up more, and then back off your volume control some and see where that leads you. You might find that you have the new tone you're craving at your fingertips. You just need to set your gear a little differently. Now here's with the gain all the way up. I'm leaving the master still at 12 or 12 o'clock. Actually doesn't have a number on these. So that's about as filthy as it'll get on its own. It's got a Duncan distortion pushing it, so you've got lots of nice hot output. We've got the input gain turned all the way up. I'm in the high sensitivity input, by the way. I didn't mention that. It's all kinds of fun to be had in the low sensitivity input. A lot of guys never explore that. You can get, put pedals in front of that and get a completely different world of distortion. Now, if you really want to get into the metal realm, you got to push the front end even harder with a distortion or an overdrive. I've got a copper drive sitting up here, a Granville copper drive. Let's see what we get there. copper drive on, you can get a decent. To it. It's a lot of great sound in there. I'm really pleased with it. Once again, that's our good friend, the Metropolis Zero Loss Effects Loop that's installed in this amp. Cannot recommend that circuit enough. George Metropolis is a genius as far as I can tell. All of his products are wonderful. The Super Boost, the amp head switcher. I own both of those units. I love them both. And I've also, obviously, I have two Marshall-style builds I've built for myself. They both have the Metropolis in them. I was not an effects loop guy for a long time because they rob you of tone. They change the sound too much. I promise you, the Metropolis, when properly installed according to the directions by a professional, you will never, ever hear an effect on your tone. Don't know why. Don't have to know why. I just know how to install them, and I suspect it has something to do with the fact that the circuit runs at a fairly high voltage, around 300 volts optimally, and that has a lot to do with the fact that the amp kind of just doesn't know it's there. It just slides in effortlessly, and you go on with your life. It's primarily built for high voltage Marshall circuits, but it can be adapted to other amps. Seek out George Metropolis on the net and seek out his products because they're wonderful. Also want to thank my good friends over at Mojo Tone for their invaluable assistance and supplies, and of course the guys over at Mercury Magnetics. We use the Mercury Magnetics transformers in this amp, and it's quiet as a church mouse when it's at idle, and just thunderously loud as soon as you play. Just makes all. Shut the copper drive off. that one sounds like. Stand by. All right. This is the Lucy guitar. It's a guitar I built for myself last year. Maple neck, rosewood board, bone nut, Kluson Revolution tuners, Bill Kirchen neck mod mounting. The body is alder with a flame maple cap, and it's finished to match the front of the Super Chief amplifier. They're both named after our cats, Lucy and Chief. That's where those names came from. Lucy has Seymour Duncan, or not Seymour Duncan, I'm sorry, DiMarzio, area T 615 in the bridge, and then area T neck in the neck position. And just volume and tone. Nothing real complicated. It's just a telly I made for myself. The neck is real deep this way. This measurement here. It's not real wide from side to side, but it's got some. It almost feels Gibson-y in a way. I'm real happy with how it turned out. So that's the Lucy guitar. Sorry, I meant to narrate a little more in there and just kind of got lost in it. Well, I think that just about does it, really. Covered quite a few bases. Put some copper drive in front of it. Again, our thanks to Metropolis, George Metropolis, the zero loss effects loop. Don't fail to seek it out. If you're really interested in one, it's a neat little toy for your vintage Marshall and for your modern Marshall, for that matter. Really like it, and I'm really happy with the Super Chief amp. Before you ask, it's not for sale. I will build you one if you want one, but this amp is mine, and I'm not planning on letting it go. Anyway, that's about all I know for today. If you have any further questions or comments or whatever about anything we do here at Granville Guitars, seek us out on the web at www.granvilleguitars.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, and the view over at WordPress, a view from the Granville bench. That's all I know for today. Be good to one another.